third map, and theme park is just about ready to get started, folks. The bans are beginning right now, so let's head in game itself and take a look at exactly who's going to be getting knocked out from play here on our very first map of the series.
Well, should be a fun best of 3 here between Oxygen and Disrupt. We're starting things out on Theme Park, like John was talking about. You guys already saw the map bans, so we're just waiting on the bans to go through right now. But last week, again, not the greatest time for either one of these teams. Specifically for me, Oxygen coming up really short. I did not see them having such a slow start to Stage 2.
Specifically on attack is where we saw a lot of weaknesses coming up for them, and a lot of players just not really being able to show up as they were able to do so on the defensive side. First operator bans going through here, by the way. Thatcher and Jackal, interestingly enough, being eliminated. Oftentimes we see a Maverick combo next to Thatcher instead of the Jackal, but the Jackal makes sense when you consider how heavy the roaming presence has been on this map. So knocking out an anti-roam certainly going to help the attackers a bit.
Yeah, it should help them out a decent bit. But Wamai also going to follow up inside of the bans for Oxygen. Not bad at all, especially starting on the offensive side. Going to make their clear a lot easier for site control. And last but not least, Malusi off the board. That's actually a really big pickup. As they were talking about earlier, Fox A been picking up Malusi a lot. And a lot of teams picking up Malusi as well. Her Banshee utility, so good at slowing down those offenses.
Not to mention that, but the Wamai ban as well will limit the current play into the meta, where we have so much utility soak being brought to the table. Should help out the attackers a little bit on, well, not having to bring as many flashbangs or other ways to try and drain out that defender utility that has so much been the case for the past few months. We'll still have the Jaeger in play, as is usually the case, and that will immediately come up here from NJR's pick.
We're going to have a 6 pick as well, away from the info op of Valkyrie and onto something else to slow people down. That's going to be the Clash pickup. Probably don't have to explain that to you guys, especially with how good that shield is.
We're going to be in Throne Room again once again here to start off as well. This has been a common site that teams have been going to. And once again, guys, another common thing that you may have been seeing here is those skins. Make sure you're heading in game and taking advantage of this great opportunity to jump on board with them. Saw quite a few of them getting announced, a lot of the R6 share skins, but specifically the ones in game right now. Make sure you go ahead and take advantage. We're running a great deal right now for a limited time. Support all the pro teams, as 30% of the net revenue from those skins is going to be split equally among all of the Phase 3 teams. Make sure you jump on that and support your favorite teams while you have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, as well as while you're doing that, why not indulge and, get a couple more of those beautiful, beautiful R6 currency pieces that I can't remember the exact name of right now, but we have some more esports skins coming out tomorrow as well. So make sure you guys stock up on those so you guys can get all of those beautiful skins, especially the one for Bandit that's coming out, or already is out, excuse me, with the Pro League set.
All right, folks, taking a look at the round itself here, Oxygen splitting quite a bit of the pressure here, as we did see one player trying to work their way in arcade side over on the west end of the building, but a large majority of the roster is starting to push their way in from Dragon Stairs, as is so often the case when attacking this site here on this map.
Well, very slow beginnings, as you're saying. So drones in now, Oxygen just performing a top clear here. It's going really well, obviously. No real roam presence here by Disrupt, so should be easy beginnings, but that's soon going to take a turn as they're going to have to focus on getting a wall open. Oxygen brought a lot of hard breach, 3 hard destructors out for them, Ace on board as well, so should make for a pretty good time on getting these walls open. Let's just see what the priority is for now.
Not much in the way of resistance when it comes to this upstairs clear either from the Disrupt side of things, and this can work, keep in mind, because of the fact there isn't a whole lot of top-down destruction over the site itself, outside of, say, a little bit over Arsenal. The other half or 2/3 of the site is relatively safe. So OFG is going to use the angles that were given to them, but like I said, it is somewhat limited in what you can actually see from the top-down perspective. They're going to have to do a lot more work before it's really safe for them to actually try getting into the site.
Yeah, that's the good news about them getting in up top so early on, is that they're going to be able to actually work this vertical for quite a long time in comparison to what we usually see when they have to deal with a roam game. So for DG, this is going to be leaning on that utility to make sure that Oxygen can't just bully their way into sight. A lot of this leans on Retro with that Clash Shield as well.
Coming down to that last minute, Disrupt starting to feel probably a little bit secure with their positioning, but they also still need to be worried, as within this last minute is when we are going to see the real attempts made by Oxygen to start opening up the walls. You can see maintenance being heavily worked on right now by Bio on the Maverick as he tries to take out some of the extra reinforcements coming in from J90, but so far things are still moving pretty slowly, and we have not seen a successful attempt to either ace open one of these walls yet, or even use the X-Kairos charges to do it here. Maverick, of course, can also make the attempts at that, but he's still got a bit more to deal with as there's a mute jammer still sitting on the other side that Bio has not been able to shoot out just as of yet.
This is very curious because usually the mute jammer would be in the center of the wall, and they definitely know it's muted because of obviously the electrical sparks coming off of the utility. But Laxion's going to get a pickup as well as Slash, so all of a sudden this round, a touch winnable, especially after they lock down the smoke in the back line. It's all left up to Retro right now in a 1 versus 5. Doesn't really know where anyone is, but no one knows where he is either. Bomb now going down. He's going to get one pickup, but does he know he's inside of the smoke? He knifes. He gets one. Retro, are you actually going to win this? You are. What? In God's no.
What was that?
What?
Oh my god. That was absolutely insane from Retro. Even he's laughing in the chat right now. Just throws out a casual LOL as he's able to somehow sneak that round in for Disrupt out of absolutely nowhere.
Okay, I'm gonna need a tactical timeout for the casters here because I don't know what just happened there. Okay, so great play there by Retro. I have no idea how Oxygen did not assume that he was going to be inside the smoke, especially after he just killed the guy that hopped over the shield. I don't really know how they didn't pinpoint him. This is very unlucky there by Oxygen. I really just got to chalk it up to that. I mean, they obviously didn't have the information on where he was, and he performed what seemed to be a turtle as he proned on the ground and made sure nobody could kill him.
Crazy turn of events, but hey, it works out well for Disrupt as they'll take the win on the very first round here. One that it certainly looked like Oxygen were going to control up until those last 5 seconds or so. Either way, Disrupt will be elated about the success coming from that round, and they'll now get to move on to their next site, which is going to be upstairs here. And we'll see them obviously put a little bit of extra emphasis on trying to defend the cafe push as well, since more than likely we are going to see quite a bit of pressure from Oxygen being thrown onto that doorway at the beginning of the round here.
This is going to be a true test of Oxygen and what they've been working on recently with the, you know, obviously the off time in between stage 1 and 2. With something happening like that inside of a game, obviously, it's going to be very strenuous for everyone on that team. So this is the time for them to come together as a team, just be like, all right, water off the back. You know, there was nothing we could really do there. We just kind of misplayed and things happened. So reset, and hopefully Oxygen can get a better run the second time around.
And it kind of begs the question as to what was going on with the maintenance walls. Well, you had touched about how they were very well aware that there was a mute jammer on the other side, but it took them a really long time to realize that, and that led to some considerable delay in actually opening up the maintenance walls. So there was, you know, some weird stuff going on overall for the attack there on Oxygen. Hopefully, of course, just some jitters at the beginning of the game. Unfortunately, things aren't going to continue very well for them into the second round here either, as NJR gets a nice long angle from outside of waiting room and uses it to take out Slash, one of the hard breaches here. Still alive for Oxygen at the beginning of the round.
Amazing start for Disrupt once again, and this isn't on Oxygen, and they're clear this time with the first engagement. It's rather Disrupt, very early pick. So still plenty of time for Oxygen to make something happen here, but they're down an ace just like you were talking about, so that's going to be very difficult for Oxygen to get some of these walls open. Hopefully Biologic can make good use of that torch to possibly get one of these open to assist his team, but using those X-Kairos to get a wall isn't the best way to go about it. Granted, the defense doesn't have anything to prevent that either, so as long as they get these mute jammers off, they should be pretty set for hard destruction.
See Laxing jump into control here, joining up with the rest of the main group of his team. It's trying to push forward further west into the building. As you said, the X-Kairos not going to be much of a problem, as I believe all of the denial has been dealt with, or well, it's being dealt with now, as Foxay just wraps around the corner, swipes away that mute jammer, and will open up the possibility for them to open up the extra angle to play off of. Possible duel coming up here for Foxay. There's a player on the corner, of course. Here comes the swing, and that should have been an easy win for Foxay, but Retro is still allowed to get off a 1-for-1 before going down. Gets the shotgun burst on the bio right around the corner before the trade comes in from Fox.
Well, still a lot of time to work here with for Oxygen. They have the pick now, but down 2. Foxay with that lucky refrag there. So Disrupt waiting on that timer now. Still plenty of time once again for Oxygen to do quite a few things. Still have a lot of drone economy as well as utility here. Just really no main utility. Hell of a grenade, as well as Foxay catching him from underneath. Grenade up to the hatch makes him drop, and J9 pays his life. So that's the pick that they really needed to start forcing their way into sight.
Great catch in the utility usage there from Oxygen, like you said. certainly equalizes things a little bit more here, but now coming down to a 3v3 with only 20 seconds remaining. It's all on Oxygen to make the first move here and try to push themselves further into sight. Ash Charge looked like it was being used there for a second. Not sure what it's given them access to, but either way, Reed giving himself a bit of an angle to play off of. It's not going to matter to help out his team, though, as we do see Laxing still able to take out another member of Disrupt. That's going to be NJR going down. It's all on Shuttle and Reed. Now, Plant attempt also being made. Laxing finds one of them. Reed does catch the trade, but now he's alone. Plant is on the ground, and unfortunately, he's not going to be able to come out clutch in the 1v2 here. Vert shuts it down for Oxygen, and they get the immediate trade to tie us up at 1-1.
Much better round there from Oxygen. Great patience and nice rotation there to put their operators in the area in order to be successful. Very nice rotation there. Good info read as well. I mean, for Oxygen overall in that offense, I mean, it really wasn't like the hard destruction or anything along those lines. It was really the gunfights that it came down to in that last little instance that allowed them to actually get inside of sight. But honestly, I thought that they were going initially for the daycare side when we saw everyone moving through, but then eventually they ended up going for bunks and just holding down the arcade balcony. So overall, really nice round from them.
Definitely the case, and even looking back at round number 1, it was their fragging potential, which was really the only reason they were getting close to winning that round as well. So a lot of the success from Oxygen coming off of frag power, that's not necessarily a bad thing though, as that is something that to an extent at least was missing from some of their attacks on their game last week. So seeing that come back into the fray here, even with some somewhat funny results at the end of at least the first round, could be a good sign for them throughout the rest of the series.
Oh, I like what Disrupt's starting us off here with on round 3. Looks like we're going to have an extended roam set up, ladies and gents, so should be a pretty good time. Reed throwing down some panels for maintenance wall as well, and also a rotation into barrels. So it looks like they're going to be doing something similar to what we've seen a lot of teams do on the drug lab site. It's been quite successful time and time again. They do have the pulse as well, so they're going to have good intel on this first floor.
All right, well, we've got Oxygen out onto the board once again. Let's take a look and see exactly what they're going to try and work with here to try and clear out this extended room that you had already mentioned, Stokes. We can see quite a few of the members from Disrupt committing themselves to it now, as J9 is going to kind of lock himself in throne room. Shuttle will probably do the same somewhere near Arsenal. J9 actually looks like he's playing into barrels as well, so a little bit more movement involved for him. But Shuttle's certainly going to be locking himself into Arsenal, and Reed will be probably assisting the two of them with any intel he can get from that heartbeat sensor.
Yeah, the really only downfall to this is if Oxygen's able to get top control. It can break up the entire floor of the office area, or excuse me, the cafe area, to look down into the storage area downstairs, which is one of the main bomb sites. But when stuff like that happens, you don't really have to worry about it. NJR gets a drone and vertical for his troubles, as he's going to attempt to hold down the top floor. We're only a minute in here, and he's already made an impact.
NJR just rolling out of absolutely nowhere. They're a massive surprise to vertical, more than likely. Certainly a kill well-deserved for the defenders. Potentially a second one going to be gifted to him here as well. Foxay doesn't catch NJR at first, meaning he has to double time it to get to a different safe position, but he's got 2 different drones on him. They know exactly where he's positioned. It's really just all up to Foxay now, as he still lost the initial duel there, whether he wants to try and re-engage it or not. Shuttle, in the meantime, will be able to take out Slash, and we still, like I said before, have the potential engagement with NJR between at least Foxay, if not Bio, because he's also in the area now too. Looks like Laxing is going to end up finding those. NJR just a little bit too close to center map, and with that, the roaming threat will be dealt with, and Oxygen can start to focus a bit more on the site take here.
Yeah, breath of fresh air here for Oxygen. NJR was the thorn in the side that they needed to remove. Finally got rid of him, and they'll finally be able to get some progress going towards the actual site. But NJR's already had a massive impact on this round, and J9's going to make it even more difficult now for Oxygen to try and win this one. Wasting quite a bit of time upstairs. Didn't really have the crosses to be able to hold down NJR as he was slipping through those drones and able to make those quick shots happen. Now, Bio and Lax still contesting, but Laxing at least now down on the main floor. Bio in tandem, but he's near the top of Dragon. Only 45 seconds remain now. They're gonna actually have to try and more than likely go for the execute.
You can see it's not the end of the world in terms of trying to attempt this for Oxygen. It's just obviously not really a great situation. Laxing at least still has 2 of the X-Kairos charges, so they can make some attempts to open up reinforced walls and see if that gives them, at minimum, extra angles to work with. Whether they want to try and use both of them to open up an outright breach is another question, considering there's already some Soft destruction that they could try to play off of, at least try and clear out the roam here. Shuttle with a good start, though, immediately knocks out Bio. Laxing does find the trade, but time is working very heavily against him at this point. It's a 1v3. He's already lost a little over 25 HP, and unfortunately, his position has been revealed as well, meaning J9 can easily line up that final kill from the inside of Lab and shut down the round for Disrupt.
Great defensive showing there from Disrupt, and overall a really good round. But for Oxygen, it seems to be that they're roam clear once again, like it was last week, where we saw a lot of people doing very independent things. Vert just got caught up in that again, just in an area where he can't possibly get refragged, and they really didn't have the intel there to know that NJR was there yet. Seemed like a hot drone situation that just went awry. Oxygen was still able to handle it, but again, the damage just too much early on, especially for how many bodies DG still had up, as well as that extended roam that they had downstairs to hold on to all of that map control. Way too many angles to worry about with the amount of bodies that Oxygen had, and just could not solve that equation. So we're on to round 4 now, John, and we've got a 6 pick off of the Maverick onto the Kali. They know that they're going back to Armory more than likely, and they just want to handle these walls a little bit easier.
Yeah, some great work being done there on the previous round by the roam game on Disrupt, just specifically calling out NJR and his performance within that round on the Valkyrie there. Was able to really just dash out, get the first kill, and then wasted a good like 30-40 seconds, I think, after that, when he was trying to avoid both Fox and Bio by hiding out over the dorms area, and did a very good job of just going unseen up until he started to, I think, rotate back towards downstairs, or at least try to play into a different part of upstairs. That's when he finally got caught by Laxing. But, you know, even with just the one kill to his name, still wasted a massive chunk of time off the clock, which ultimately worked to fight against Oxygen at the end of the round.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, as well as a pick that came in later on Slash, and I don't exactly know where that one happened either, but for Slash, you got to play a touch safer inside of those instances. He's mostly the most important hard destruction in this lineup, even when the Mav was still in. I mean, he has the ability to get so many walls all at once, and it's just, you know, very bad for Oxygen to not have him up in the latter half of the rounds, but he's caught himself in some very difficult instances where he more or less just got caught off guard. So hopefully going into the second half of this offensive side, Oxygen can maybe scrub some things up.
All right, well, taking a look, NJR is right in front of the fight yet again here, taking a tiny angle to try and see if he can catch any movement from OXG through Cash early on. And then he's got quite a few soft walls there on the inside of the room, so he's not going to stick around for a very long time. He'll back up through Yellow Hall pretty quickly and position himself a little bit safer further back on the map, as we now start to see Vertical and some of the other members of Oxygen indeed begin to clear out the areas leading up to where he just was.
All initial beginnings here, but still plenty of time on the clock. It's going to be slow and steady, folks. Here it is, theme park. You know how it goes. Crossing now, getting rid of most of the utility for Laxing. He's down to one set of Exkyrost. He's a set over on the yellow wall, as well as the initiation wall now. So they got multiple angles as well as multiple areas to be able to rotate through to handle this roam game. NJR switching off of the Valkyrie over to the Vigil. Love this move. More than likely going to be able to delay more time because of that backpack not being able to be seen by drones, as well as he has Shuttle upstairs with him, which could also assist.
A little over half the time gone from the round now. Still a lot of work to be done by our attacking squad. They have cleared out a good half of the map over here in the upstairs part. There's still roaming presence to deal with, meaning that they really only have the maintenance wall and maybe Yellow to be able to clear out safely here. Yellow is almost certainly going to be fought with other players on Disrupt if they try to take control of that too. So for the most part, it's really just the maintenance wall and of course the Dragon Door they're going to be able to safely utilize to try and work for the XU, which doesn't always end up being enough if that's all you have to work with here. So if that's all Oxygen is going to try to fight for, this could be a bit risky on execute. We'll see how all that pans out though over the next few seconds, as it looks like they're going to try and start throwing pressure out. A wild swing from Retro there. Definitely a big risk, but he downs one player. Is able to get the confirmation on a re-swing with the shoddy. Two more, however, from Disrupt have fallen, but J9 has also been able to trade out an additional player. Now playing with the shotgun, Retro is able to confirm another one. Downs his third right there as he takes out Bio, leaving everything on to Foxe in the 1v3, and unfortunately, only 20 seconds to make the play. Not even going to get to use that full 20 seconds either, as Retro is going to swing right out and take him down.
At a minute left, they were looking so good. Had the wall open, you know, lines of sight established. Kali already had her job done. Bio was going to be able to hold the cross with the sniper rifle. So many good things going for Oxygen, and it just all went south. all of it just gone. I don't really know exactly what happened there, but I can more or less chalk it up to this. It was all based off of Retro's efforts. I mean, beautiful repeak there with the last couple of rounds in his SMG-11. Not only bags him a down, but he also switches to his shotgun and then quick peeks, fires, clears that guy, and also gets 2 more on top of that, all by them just pushing his wall. That M590 is so dangerous inside of those close range engagements. Just because he has low health doesn't mean that he can't kill you, and Oxygen fell into that trap. Amazing play there by Retro. Very heads up stuffed it for the repeak, knowing that they weren't going to be ready for it.
Seems to really be dominating that specific quadrant of the map, because we go back to round number 1, and I believe we also
7-0-1 right now.
Is he really, man?
Yeah.
It's going on a tear. It's like most of his kills I think have been found from that spot as well, because that's where he got all the kills on I think Clash back on round number 1 too, and he got like 2 to 3 out of that one.
The theme park rounds always go very weird ways. I think it's one of the most awkward maps for offenders right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would agree. So, I mean, I think it's a lot of it just comes into the fact that we haven't seen as many officials on this map yet. So, and it's still like the newest layout wise. So, I think a lot of teams are still trying to adjust for that factor as well. Like, still trying to figure out the full play capability. And there just happens to be a lot of awkward play as a result of that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I definitely think that there's, you know, a time where this map will continue on building its meta, and we'll eventually get to the point where things are more towards, you know, an even spot. But right now, offense just not the greatest when you're on theme park. It's not a lot of fun. Disrupt, though, plenty of utility in their defensive light up. Got a little bit of everything here. We got some delay, bringing the castle to try and funnel people, as well as use up those soft breaching utility pieces, as well as mute to not only lock the walls, but also to prevent a little bit of info game. Vert with a very nice pickup onto NJR, and that's a reflex on ACOG gunfight, and he still wins it.
I think it was a similar angle that possibly Vert himself got caught by a couple rounds back. So finally getting some revenge for that and striking back against the Disrupt roster, which usually has been dominating in early rounds here. This could be a bit of a turn of the tides if Oxygen are going to be able to continue to be able to control this round. However, all that still yet to be answered here. We've got a couple of players trying to set themselves up for at least aggressive angles against the push from Oxygen, but whether they'll actually take the fights or not is yet to be seen, as I've already seen a few of them falling back from those angles and trying to play things more passively.
Not a bad start here for Oxygen with that initial pickup of NJR. Fox almost threading it through the wall there and getting a kill, but not happen. Good progress, though. Already have control of initiation, working themselves into office. Drone game, beautiful, but end up getting 2 of those taken down. Slash with another pickup, though. So good trade there, especially when those drones are now down. 5v3, and mostly leaning on that intel game to try and keep one of these last few members of the team are. Retro with a nice pickup as well onto Vertical. So Oxygen and Disrupt pretty much on equal footing right now. Oxygen knocking at the door, but Disrupt continuing to fight back.
Very passive hold for the time being here on Disrupt. Reed probably the closest to any sort of combat. Retro, of course, also not really wanting to take the challenge on these next few moments, simply because of the fact they're already pretty far behind here and they need to try and maintain positioning over everything else. Shuttle will at least bring a trade back after they just lost to their teammate there a few seconds ago. Puts it down into a 2 versus 3 situation. Time now a little over 30 seconds remaining here too, and Reed still continuing to hold on pretty strongly here. He takes out Slash. Finally, Foxa is able to eliminate his stronghold, and that leaves only Shuttle alive on the back arcade hallway, trying to pull off the 1v2. No plan attempt being made just yet. Only 20 seconds remaining here for the attackers to try that. They'll regather their diffuser and start moving closer and closer to the site here. One of them may run right into his POV, and indeed do, but he's not able to confirm the kill either way. Tries to push it forward, finally gets that frag on a Fox save. Beautifully done by Shuttle. Now he needs to get the second. Reads the rotate against him, trying to draw him out just to waste time. Will it work? No! Bio gets the frag instead, and it's Oxygen that take control over round number 5 with just a couple seconds remaining on the clock.
Oh, that was a very, very stressful 1v1 there. The Vector, very fast shooting, has decent mag capacity, but that rate of fire, you just go through bullets like water. Ended up only having 8 bullets in that last little instance there and was not able to win things out, especially with how good that secondary pistol is from the Collie, matching a lot of the stats of the F2. So very difficult gunfight every once in a while. Now Oxygen looking like they're going to have the offensive split. They've already got the 2 rounds that we're used to seeing on defensive-sided maps. Usually that 2-4 split is what we talk about. But they have a chance to go for 3 here. It's a big deal, especially with Disrupt going downstairs to lab. They know what they're looking at. The main thing is now, though, Oxygen can't get picked off early if DG are going to go for that extended roam, which it looks like they're going to as well. They're bringing the pulse again, read on that, and he's immediately running over to Throne. Those are all the telltale signs that I need to see to know that we're going to be experiencing a very similar round.
And you're pretty much right on the nose with that one. We've already got Reed in position, like you said. A few other players more than likely going to be coming over here to reinforce the throne room. Now the question is whether Oxygen will be able to deal with it in a timely manner or not, as they got drained of both manpower and time down to a considerable degree. I think it was all the way down to a 2v4 right before we saw the execution called by the 2 remaining players on Oxygen there. So if they end up in a similar situation, this could just end up being an easy 4th for Disrupt, but let's wait and see, find out if Oxygen have made any changes to the attack for this round before we make any judgments on that.
Well, looking through the scoreboards right now as we're just about to hit that halfway point of map 1. Well, our 2 community poll questions still kind of in the middle of the road in comparison to the rest of their team. NGR making some big impact when it comes down to, you know, timer and roaming, as well as a couple of big impact frags, but definitely not lighting up the scoreboard in any regard, and he doesn't need to. Again, that's the job of a roamer. As long as they're wasting the maximum amount of time they can possibly get, and they get a frag or 2 every once in a while, that's really what you expect to happen. I mean, the offense shouldn't let things go awry all the time. When we flip the coin, though, and look over at Oxygen, Fox A, middle of the road still, 4-1-4. Topping off the top of the leaderboard is none other than Laxing, the Rat King himself, bringing it out this time and looking damn good doing it. We've seen him on quite a few different operators, seen him play Habana a little bit earlier as well as the IQ, so lots of moving parts here for him.
Yeah, Fox A at least definitely looking better than the performance from last week, at least looking at the final few maps that they played in their series last week, simply because Fox A was losing a lot of direct 1v1s, looking at specifically the Cafe game they played on the previous play day for them. So already some improvements on that, and that's probably enough for his performance when it comes to today. Obviously, if he wants to push it further than that, you know, more power to him, but Laxing is definitely the power player that we look to pick up the big frags here on OXG. So Fox A certainly, though, proving his own once again, it seems, in today's match. A little under halfway through the round, in fact. Still waiting to see if OXG are going to get that much closer to the execute. Thankfully, they haven't had to deal with as much roaming presence upstairs this time. They've been able to deal with that, or at least force it to be pushed back closer to the site a lot more easily this round than it was on the previous attempt here.
Yeah, well, the bad thing for Oxygen is that there's not truly any damage being done except for that map control. Laxing going to get our initial kill here as well, so going to put the words right back in my mouth. That was one of the initial frags that they really needed. Get somebody off site so the execute goes a touch better. As long as this presence is off site, DG can rotate towards site and, you know, handle the staircases or wherever Oxygen is, you know, executing from a lot easier. But now that they've eliminated one of those presences, we'll have to see where the rotation's going to come from. I don't even think we do definitely have one more person off of site. I just don't know exactly where they are right now. They don't even see, oh, it's J9.
Yeah,
It's J9 inside of Throne.
I hope you see it now.
Yeah, he was blending in with everything there for just a second, but Reed immediately with the refrag onto Fox.
Reed's still going to maintain a pretty consistent position too. He is in a little bit of a precarious spot. He's got to be careful of a couple different angles, but thankfully I believe he has team support on most of those, so doesn't need to massively worry about it. Laxing's going to try to take a duel from the other side. Bio going to take a little bit of heat here as well. I think he got a bit too close to that smoke canister, and as a result of that, one's going to take some damage, but thankfully his teammates are making up for it in huge dividends. Laxing and Slash both finding kills here, bringing it down to NJR and J9, but NJR drops the diffuser. Vert with a trade leaves NJR alone. This is another 1vx. Are they going to be able to get the plant done in time? No, once again, winning it with just a second or two left on the clock there. Oxygen will close out round number 6 and bring us a lot closer than it looked like this game was going to start off on here as we approach the halftime marker.
3-3 split on Theme Park is something that we really don't see that often just because of how defensive-sided it usually is, but Oxygen proving that they can definitely handle things when it comes to the offense. So, Just to remind you guys, we do still have that Jackal band in play, which means we're more than likely going to be seeing the Nomad. Yep, Nomad out on the board for Disrupt, but that does mean that the roam game for Oxygen can just run wild. It's going to be difficult for them to take this map control if Oxygen does anything like we're used to seeing them do on these roam games. So more than likely going to have a supported roam in some fashion. See how well it goes, but we're starting things off downstairs for Oxygen on their defensive half as they're starting off in Throne.
Overall, great recovery coming in from Oxygen there as we entered the second batch of 3 rounds of the second rotation for Disrupt there. Much better control, I think, on a moment-to-moment basis of what was going on within the round. Obviously, a few scary moments when it came down to the timing and their overall executes, but they were able to make things work, thankfully, due to their overall control over the situation on those final few rounds. So, still had some struggles, of course, with taking the armory control, but not too much to worry about since they've been able to tie it up at 3-3 ultimately.
Yeah, if you're Oxygen, you can't be mad about that at all, especially with initially how the rounds went, right? Didn't have the best roam clear, got picked off early by NJR, but they nipped it in the bud pretty quick. So now that they're on the defensive half, you know, it's their territory. They get to defend everything, and Theme Park trends towards their favor now. So for them, this is already looking like an Oxygen map. Disrupt has to change things.
Yeah, Oxygen as well, probably not counting the first round too much, considering how exactly that played out. So that one's probably not affecting them too much mentally at this point either. Thinking like, okay, if we didn't mess that one up, we'd be 4-2 right now. We're still in good shape, guys. You know, focus up. Let's get back into the swing of things here and have ourselves a perfect defensive half, which I think is what Oxygen are going to be looking for. A lot of aggression coming out from them after we see some of these windows getting open. Vert wants to take the duel. Obviously, he's not going to be given the opportunity to do so just yet here, but we'll still hang out in games, waiting for his opportunity if somebody does want to come and challenge him. Drone's going to spot him out, so they know for sure he's hiding out here. Whether they saw Bio or Slash hiding a little bit further out, though, is still yet to be seen. Same can be said for Foxay here, as they have a very, very extended setup, looking to try and prevent any cafe access at all to the Disrupt roster.
I think Disrupt is at least going to get Cafe, especially with it barricaded. They don't have the nitro cells underneath to prevent, but they're trying to slow down this take from the cash side, and that's exactly what they're going to do. NJR goes sky high after a confirmed nitro cell from Slashug, and all of a sudden, Disrupt stopped in their tracks. Need to get this refrag or get some semblance of being able to trade this out, because right now, not sitting pretty. That is going to be the Ash, though, so Disrupt not really at fault too much here, but things could definitely go much, much worse. Foxay going to have to worry about the guy pushing in from Arcade Balcony as well. Don't know if he's exactly prepared, but J9 playing this very slow right now is going to give Oxygen the chance to try and rotate it and assist if needed as well. You still have one other member of OXG upstairs with them. I don't know exactly who that is, but Fox still inside of Daycare, Laxing inside of Bunk. J9 now moving in, but does he know? Oh, he does. Foxay with the headshot. Shotgun out. Can he get the second? He cannot. But not actually immediately traded. Retro on top of the ball here, able to get 2 kills, and that's going to send us down in the last minute.
Oh, Retro as well going to be denied on the hatch opening here. The very last second by Slash. Good timing on getting the electrical out there and properly being able to deny that. Retro's on a tear right now too, so opening up that hatch could have had some pretty bad implications for the rest of OXG, but now with the team under control, Bio is going to be able to knock out Reed, leaving everything down to Retro with only 30 seconds left to make a play here. He's going to try to go over towards Split. There's a player right nearby here too, but unfortunately it's going to be against his own angle, and with that, Bio will be able to pick up the final kill as well, finally taking out Retro and securing the first defensive round for OXG.
Very, very difficult start here for Disrupt on their offense. Early picks slow them down, and then Oxygen just shoves the knife right through their heart. Continues the snowball effect, gets all the picks in the world they can possibly imagine, lead it all down to Retro on that Thermite. Strangely enough, the last man alive is the Therm, but he also has all of the frags as well. So Retro definitely picking up his weight for the squad. The rest of Disrupt just need to show up right now, but it's very difficult right now. Oxygen's roam game, very vicious. It doesn't seem that Disrupt really has the means to handle it. And with that being said, I don't know exactly how DG is going to go about this. It doesn't seem to really be the info game. It's just Oxygen winning those heads-up gunfights.
Some great work, speaking of which, by Foxay on that previous round to win some of those heads-up gunfights and delay the overall push from the inside of Bunk. Something that I believe we saw NJR do pretty efficiently back in the first half as well, but Foxay stealing the crown from him a little bit there with his performance on the previous round. Like I said, definitely increasing his performance to a pretty massive degree compared to what we saw last week already.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Oxygen headed upstairs now over to bunk and daycare. Regular setup as we're used to seeing from everybody else. And it's going to be holding down initiation as well as the top of yellow. Regular reinforcements here, but we could still have some nitro play in the works for Oxygen. We have 3 on the board. Pair that with some Valkyrie cameras, and you're in for a good time.
All right, well, we've got Disrupt out and on to the table here. Let's take a look at what their overarching strategy is going to be for the early round. Quite a few of them spawning over here for a cafe push and looking like they're going to make their way over there as well. Could also be Games Entry in down below as well, but looking like definitely going to be some pressure on cafe. Whether we'll see them actually pressure it very early on is still yet to be seen. We'll probably have a few guys running up to the roof to knock out the hatches and start looking for entry points from there as well.
I think Disrupt's going to slow it down quite a bit. They have to worry about that roam game downstairs, especially with the amount of nitros in play, if they have any insight to the lineup for OXG. Right now, it doesn't seem like there's anybody down there, but at least expecting them to drone that area out and keep some intel there in case an OXG member rotates late. As of right now, though, 2 members of Disrupt on the south rappel. Could be going for what seems to be a break room push, or at least to just apply some pressure. Vertical with a hell of a shot onto Retro, takes down the hard breach. And unlike Oxygen bringing every single hard breach under the sun, Disrupt has only brought 1, folks. Every single wall is now locked.
Very well played there from Oxygen, getting that nice early pick off. That's one where you have to go back and ask if he actually got a glimpse from there, or if he was just responding to the tracers. Either way, it lines up very nicely to deny Retro. That's going to take out Hard Breach, first of all. And secondly, when you look at kill totals, that is easily the most impactful player on Disrupt gone from the beginning of the round. That cannot bode well for the rest of the roster leading into the second half of it now.
Very, very difficult waters that they've been placed in, and now Oxygen just gets to sit patiently and see exactly how Disrupt is going to respond, because it's up to them. They're going to start things off right, though. They get the kill onto Slash. Slash, again, just caught off in these very unfortunate situations that just seems to be what's happened over and over again for him. Vert might go flying here. He's at least going to get an air jab, but I don't think he's going to risk hopping out just yet. It's a 4-4 man count right now, and to do something so risky and risk getting killed, definitely not in the cards for the defense.
Reed even does expect it to a certain extent. He's watching multiple run-out angles. Pings are being given by OXG in the meantime to try and confirm something. So if there was going to be a move, it would be made soon. However, I can't see anything on the top-down view that would indicate they're actually going to try and go for the hop out. Either way, Arcade has now been taken control of by Disrupt. J9 is also going to be able to find the first kill following up this control by taking out Bio. That puts us down to a 4v3. Disrupt gets even better control of the situation, but they've only got 23 seconds left. There's the trade. Back down into a 3v3 as Foxay strikes first here. Nice angle being taken by J9, but he's now the last man standing. That's not going to stop him, though. He brings it down to a 1v1, sub 15 seconds. And the worst part about this has got to be the fact that Vert currently controls the diffuser. J9's got to make a move, and he's got to make it soon. Trying to wrap in here, checks the wrong angle. He's got to hard check this corner. He saw the barrel for a second, but no, again, OXG close out the final kill at the very last second as Vertical strikes against J9 and wins out the round for his team.
It is a really good thing that Vertical did not hop that window. Oh man, that round could have went completely sideways if he ended up getting caught off on rotation or something like that after getting that Nomad kill. But overall, nice recovery there from Oxygen. Disrupt getting pretty far without a hard breach as well. My main question, where is that when Retro's alive? That's what we really need to see. When you guys are able to get the ball rolling, get some walls open, and assist yourselves. We need to see that fragging potential when everyone is alive. Inside of that instance right there, some very unfortunate events. Obviously, you have Retro die early. J9 accidentally kills NJRC swings Foxay, so you're traded out by your own teammate, and then you're down into the 1v1. J9 tries to recover from that. There's just a lot of things where, you know, it's not exactly like they've completely fallen over, but they've definitely stumbled over the obstacle, and it's left them worse for wear.
All right, folks, into round number 9. Oxygen inching closer and closer to a victory after 2 successful defenses in a row. Going to look for number 3 here before they start rounding it back over towards some of the other sites they've already played into here, as they'll become unlocked for play following this round. For Disrupt, it's all about making it happen here and now, as sadly, to start to become too big of an advantage to crawl back from, especially with Oxygen finding a lot of relative success. They've been able to repeat on a round-around basis now. A little bit of an extended roam going to be set up here for Oxygen, same in the way that Disrupt also tried to utilize it back on their defensive sides. I don't think we're going to be seeing it used as heavily as we saw Disrupt use it, but there is definitely a very similar setup to allow for the capability of that extended roam.
Well, speaking of extended roam, we have Laxing on an island all the way over inside of security. I like the move, though. 11-0-6 right now. Picking up the Vigil, seeing if he can possibly have a large impact on this round if DG has a misstep. And as we were talking about before, the missteps, although not the full-on death of them, it's definitely part of it. So we'll see if Laxing can possibly force one on his own. And it doesn't seem like it's going to happen just yet as he rotates down to Throne.
Throne's going to become the main point of contention now as a result of him doing that. I was hoping he could get lucky and stay in his current position without being checked by a drone, but thankfully for Disrupt, that's the very first thing they check. So he's going to be spotted out incredibly quickly here and forced into a different position. As far as the rest of the roam game is concerned, it's mainly focused on just maintaining upstairs control and stopping Disrupt from being able to set up a bunch of top-down angles in areas like Cafe. This will be players like Vert that are trying to control this situation right now. He's looking for an opportunity to maybe hop up on top of there, but not going to take it, at least not at this point in time.
Yeah, unfortunate. And believe you actually have to like sprint at the top in order to get the vault properly.
Yeah, you have to like go on the bars first. It's really awkward to do it if someone's nearby. So probably a smart move to not try it there.
Yeah, there's actually two of them now. You can sprint down the staircase, and if you stare at the scaffolding, you can actually hop up on it, or you can jump on the railing. The railing sometimes like slides you off though.
I wasn't aware of the second one.
I got you. Don't worry. I spend way too much time on this game too. It's perfectly fine.
Thought it was the railing one was the only way, so I was like, yeah, that's gonna be a bit risky if you try that.
Either way, trying to get on the scaffolding. That's exactly what he was trying to do. So, looks like Bio has a hot mark on somebody, possibly on yellow. Nah, definitely not reaching that far, but the bullet tracers definitely tell some sort of tale on exactly what NJR is doing over here. So, let's that pulse lock down, though. Can he possibly see his leg? He can. That's a lot of damage done to Bio as well. Just need Reed or someone to try and push their way in through Dragon, but then they have to worry about Laxing inside of Throne. Disrupt are stumped right now. Excuse me. But the first kill comes through for J9. That's going to be a big pickup onto Fox, but not very much time left on the clock.
You just make that into a new like combo verb, Disrupt. Either way, Shuttle is going to take out Vertical here, furthering the advantage for Disrupt within this round. It's going to push itself even further, man. NJR finds the next pickup here. Down goes Bio after he was forced into a corner about 30 seconds ago. Did not seem like he was really able to make a move out of that. Even if he was, he only had a little bit of HP left. Shuttle pushes the advantage even further. It's all on Laxing as he's finally returned from his vacation on the island. And unfortunately, he's only going to be able to find one more pickup from it. NJR quickly trades it out, and Disrupt will control their first attacking round.
Nice round here from Disrupt. Completely ignore the roam game. Just hold down the staircase to apply pressure into Throne and Armory, as well as locking down the rotations that those defenders can possibly take. Hit the execute on site and get a hell of a lot of kills. We really didn't get to see, you know, the most important part of that, but I mean, overall, really nice round there from Disrupt. I really wish we got to see a little bit more of the initial kills there, but it was just a very weird round for what Disrupt was exactly going for. Oxygen keeping everything very slow up until the last 30 seconds, and then DG just steamrolled them.
Laxing full sending the operator pick there for a minute, but he does 6-pick it back down to reality. No Caviar are going to be played out here today, at least not yet. I think we still have Villa in the map pool, so that could come up a bit later. But either way, that's going to be switched out over towards a Valkyrie. Laxing will be using that instead, with the rest of Oxygen now rotating back over to Throne Room, choosing not to repeat Lab for the second time, and instead go back to Throne, where they've already been able to successfully control a round a couple rounds back.
Well, Disrupt sticking to the one hard breach here. Retro's still the only hard destructor, and he's on that Thermite. Rest of the squad, though, rounding things out with quite a bit of soft destruction. The Zoe, Ash, and Sledge coming along for the ride, as well as the flank watch in the Nomad. So we'll see if this works for them going for Throne. But as we saw with Oxygen, once again, bringing a lot of hard destruction to handle this map, and that's usually the best application. Especially when you are attacking something like Throne, you usually have to burn through a lot of utility to get one of those walls open. And with Disrupt not having something like a Maverick, this could bode to be very difficult for them. But I will say this, they do have some frag grenades that could be of some assistance on getting this wall open, especially since the wall denial that they're mostly working with is going to be mute jammers and electro claws.
Foxy gonna get spotted up more than likely pretty quickly here. Actually, I don't know if the drone went in or not, so he may have gone away unspotted there. Either way, Reeds is gonna catch him here in a moment. Shouldn't be too much of a worry for Foxy, but he does have to be cautious of someone quickly going up and opening the hatch, so he's gonna err on the side of caution and just fall completely back to the other side of the map and choose not to stick around, hoping to catch someone when they hop in from Dragon.
Can't blame him at all for that one. NJR's already pushed up inside of the office. Could have cut off his rotation at any point in time. So Oxygen, as you said, much rather err on the side of safety. See if they can possibly extend this round a little bit longer. Again, did a great job of that last time. Love to see him do it again, especially on such a low time. Those gunfights are going to be very difficult for Disrupt to win. That's going to be a low timer situation with a lot of nerves on the line. Oxygen 1 round away from getting map point.
A little bit of pressure on yellow stairs here that Oxygen have been made aware of. Now starting to be cautious of any attempts to open up the wall. There'll be a lot of denial utility being focused on that for the foreseeable future. First half of the round already being used up here by Disrupt as well. But like I said, they've got a good amount of control, already having a player close to the yellow wall. Now it's just a matter of getting control of anywhere else they might want to try and take here for the actual execute. And then, of course, forcing it to that very end point. There's still a bit of roaming presence to be dealt with, and we're going to see an example of that right now. Laxing runs out, I think, to lower Arcade, where he's able to chuck the Nitro Cell up on top and take out J9, eliminating the Zofia from play.
Well, the round is now in Oxygen's hands, but we've seen this before. See if DG can fight back on this one. Still very slow here in the last minute, but they have plenty of time still at the same time. Get some hard destruction done and try and get this down onto site. But Laxing's making things so difficult right now. He's not even the one that gets traded out. It's Vertical instead. Still some possible gunfights here. The Valkyrie gets down, and JR knows that, as you can obviously hear the audio. 30 seconds remain here in this 3 versus 3 as Bio's getting lit up on site, pushes into split, takes down one, could swing the door, but much rather play safe here as they're playing for that wall to get open. Retro and Shuttle, the last 2 alive for Disrupt. Could possibly be a bum rush here through the wall, but still playing things patiently. Do still have some stun grenades and some frag grenades that they could possibly use, but now everyone's swinging right out into the breach. Still have to worry about one inside of split. Shotgun in hand for Foxy, but it's going to be on the timer instead. Oxygen win round 10 and grab map point.
Really, really close round overall there. If we had seen Bio lose the duel he took at the split doors, that could have gone a completely separate direction, as more than likely past that point, we would have seen the site, or at the very minimum, Arsenal site, get swung wide open for the taking to the members of Disrupt there. Bio comes out huge in winning out that duel over there in split after even pressure from another part in that site as well, and I think really saves the day in that round for OXG.
I completely agree with you. There was a lot of things inside of that round for both squads where it was just a touch awkward, you know what I mean? Like, whether through vertical play or the pickups that happened, it was mostly on utility initially, especially with that nice Nitro Cell that we saw from Laxing, which really put DG onto their back foot. And then trying to obviously equal that man count is when everything soon tumbled down. Granted, Disrupt still able to get some kills there in the last instance to almost equal that out, but Oxygen is playing very strongly on site, slowed them down, especially with that M590 like you were saying. But the thing for me especially is Disrupt is taking quite a long time to get any pressure physically onto the site, like getting a wall open, using utility on the site, stuff like that. I mean, even inside of the last little instance right there in the last little 15 seconds, we saw 2 frag grenades on a sledge and 2 stun grenades on the therm. You know, it's those little things that can definitely assist you inside of these rounds, and definitely tells you that Disrupt is not getting to the site with the most amount of utility pressure that they possibly can.
Well, folks, hopefully Disrupt are going to be able to catch up on some of that utility usage. And what could be the final round of play right here. Oxygen now on map point to try and set themselves up to have an advantage in the series. Disrupt, of course, needing now 2 rounds in a row just to take this to OT. Let's take a look and see if they're going to be able to accomplish that. Usual pressure coming in from Dragon side at the beginning here, with all 5 players pressuring from that side of the map. Few, of course, going to work their way up onto the roof to quickly take care of the hatches, but other than that, everything going to be working its way from an east start point to a west end point.
Standard clear here for Disrupt, as you were just saying. So we're going to have Bio on the front lines, though, with Fox and Vertical over inside of Initiation. So Oxygen just trying to put the nail in the coffin right now. They want these early picks, and if they're able to get them, oh, Bio almost able to bag one, but the shot goes wide right instead. Thought he had it, but now NJR has the bathroom control. Doesn't want to get back on this drone just yet, though. Anyone could possibly push him at any moment in time. Rather stick gun up in this situation. As for the rest of DG, they got to start applying pressure to the other side of the map. That's exactly what they're doing. You can see those silhouettes inside of security right now, working towards initiation. As long as Bio and the rest of OXG are able to hold this line, as long as they physically can, this is going to be a really rough round here for Disrupt. They need these picks in order to get some semblance of pressure.
See NJR really looking for some type of entry angle to work off of here. A lot of the utility being dealt with. That's going to take the prying eyes of Foxay off the angle for at least a few seconds here at least, but he's got 2 other players to support that one, so he doesn't need to worry about it too much. He can focus very heavily on this offish push if NJR finally decides to go for it. He did have support previously, but even he's lost that now as Reed shifts over for a moment, picks up a kill in the process as Vertical going down, and all of a sudden OXG no longer feels confident to hold this extended roam. 2 or 3 of their players are going to start falling back to site.
Not exactly the worst thing in the world. You know, delay 2 minutes and you end up losing one of your players. Granted, it is Vertical, and he's had quite an impact in this game so far. Rest of Oxygen now need to step up to assist Laxing. He's currently at 14 kills. Guy's fragging out of his mind. Going into this last minute, though, Oxygen can close things out. This could possibly be the last round that we see Disrupt and Oxygen on Theme Park. Drone Economy getting a big shot here, but nice pickup by Foxay with the Nitro cell. Equals that man count with only 30 seconds remaining now. This is when the execute has to come through for Disrupt. Slash Ugg holding things down inside of B. Still have a chance for some hard destruction here, but Retro's going to lose the case inside of initiation. A follow-up shot here, but does not hit. J9, though, accurate enough to tag the head, but Oxygen just leaning on this timer. NJR and the squad pushing up yellow, has to worry about one, but gets fragged out twice by Laxing inside of Cafe. It's all left down to J9, but he doesn't have enough time. Oxygen take Theme Park as we're going to be headed to Villa for our next map.
Laxing a lights out performance in that final round, getting the double kill in the hallways, and as opponents, or his teammate I should say, that was sitting right behind Fending as well, then a